I live in Mississauga, Ontario. I came to Canada 60 years ago to the northern frozen mining town of Thompson, Manitoba. So I was indoctrinated into being a Canadian right away. And I have been a very, very proud Canadian. And I continue to be one, though Canada has let me down in every way possible by allowing the Air India tragedy to happen that took away my husband and my 2 teenage daughters on that flight. Canada is not what it stood for when I first moved there, and what I continue to believe in its principles of democracy and fairness to the people that had chosen to make Canada their home. I do specifically want to speak about 2 things, because others have covered other aspects of the tragedy. And one is of the 132 children that were on the flight. 1/3 of the passengers on a jumbo 747 were under the age of 18. Just imagine that. Imagine a plane and 1/3 of its seats have been taken by children. These children never stood a chance. They were Canadian. They were going home to their grandparents, to their relatives, full of anticipation, some of them for the very first time. As were my daughters, who were 18 and 15 at that time. And they didn't stand a chance because Canada's investigative forces let them down despite knowing that there was a tragedy around the corner just waiting to happen. We were living in Sudbury at that time, not in Toronto, so we were quite isolated from everything that was going on in Brampton and Malton in the various religious institutions that we should have gotten some wind of what was happening, but we didn't. Our daughters studied at a Catholic school. They attended every event in a temple, in a gurudwara, in a church, and they were brought up to be tolerant Canadians who accepted diversity as much as the fabric of who they were as Canadians. But just think of the potential of those 130 children. Many of them had finished school and were now going on to very challenging academic careers. Many of them were talented writers, singers, dancers like my 2 daughters. But think of them 40 years later and what they would have been here today as proud Canadians, contributing to our community and contributing to the potential that Canada could be. We're now 2 generations away from those 40 years where people know nothing about what happened. And that is why I really believe that this initiative that has been spawned here in British Columbia, as well as work that is going on in Ontario and other parts of Canada, to be really important to reset the narrative of the Air India tragedy, because as Ujjalji said, this is not just about Air India. It's about what can potentially happen if we ignore the extremism and the terrible and rabid ideologies that are occurring right across Canada. The other part that I believe all of us need to be are voices that are unabashedly willing to speak to media and to promote this idea, because this is something that I think, unless we talk about it, unless we put our shoulders behind the wheel and create these new opportunities for a learning center or a touring exhibit of the Air India archives, or even the debris that was collected, I think unless we see it in a tangible, visceral way, we will never, never understand. See the pictures, see the hundreds of newscasts, the letters. And the other important thing is I am an artist, and I believe that the arts have been a very important vehicle to promote anything that society wants to turn its face away from. A few months after Ripudaman Singh Malik and Ajay Bagri were arrested, I created a new dance work called Revealed by Fire. And that was in Ontario. It was a seminal work because it spoke of the Air India tragedy. And through the arts, there has been a wide acknowledgement of the tragedy and its devastation. Just earlier this year, I created a new work based on Renée Sakliker's book of poems called Children of Air India, which focused, and if you have not read it, please get a copy. It's a very powerful indictment against the forces that took away all those children. And I created a new work called Children of Air India. So I believe really that there are many perspectives, many ways of all of us contributing to the importance of recognizing what happened and bringing it back into public memory and public consciousness. Thank you.